No, go down again. It's a paparazzi.
What's a paparazzi?
It's a bunch of people that come and take a bunch of pictures.
I want to take a
you're
picture.
Celebrities.
No, I want to take a picture of Ellie.
You press that button. Press that button up top. Yeah, there we go. Good job.
But you take a picture.
Oh, that was.
Well, howdy do everyone, and welcome back to the ranch. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come out here for a little visit on the ranch. I really appreciate it. You know, it means a lot to me, so thank you for being here. I hope everything in your world is going well today. Hope the weather's good. Weather has really been an issue around here as we've had no appreciable rain in several months. And this is the time of year where we usually get the rains that hold us through the summer. So we're kind of in trouble around here. Wildfires have become a big threat as the wind just won't seem to die down. We usually have winds no less than 10 to 15 miles an hour every day. And some days are extremely windy with gusts up to 35, 40 miles an hour. So wildfires have been a constant issue. They're battling one in between here in San Antonio right now. I think it's already taken over 1,000 or 2,000 acres. But anyway, that's just a daily occurrence here in Texas these days. Let me get you off that tripod and I'll show you exactly what we have for grass right now. It's pretty sad. Okay, first off, you'll notice that the only thing that is green around here are the cedar trees, or basically junipers. The oak trees have lost most of their leaves, and there's a few green leaves coming back, but not much. You can see the ground. There's all the leaves right there, and look at that grass. It's just dead, as dead can be. All these little shrub plants, they're all dead too. Nothing seems to be green except for the evergreens. But anyway, back to our video. But anyway, right now we are praying for rain. And we're also praying for this dang wind to die down just a little bit. Hopefully we will get some rain soon, because if we don't, we're not going to see any relief from this drought that we're in right now. You know, more than likely until around September or October. That's when it starts raining again. So anyway, enough of that. On a happier thought right now, it is about time for the white-tailed deer to start having their babies. Probably in about the next 2 weeks, we're going to see some babies hitting the ground. Right now, we've got a whole bunch of pregnant mamas running around with big tummies right now. Gestation on these white-tailed deer is usually around 200 days, and most commonly we'll see single births. Every now and then we'll see some twins, and occasionally, I think 2 or 3 times since we've been out here in 30 years, we've seen triplets. But right now you can tell the moms just don't feel too great. They don't run much. They're usually walking, and most commonly we'll just see them laying down resting all the time. And those of you moms out there watching this, you can all relate with exactly how they feel. This is that 8.5 month of pregnancy time for them right now. So they're not having a great day, but there'll be some little cute babies and a whole lot of relief for them coming up pretty soon. And one thing we'll have to be watching out with all these new babies coming are these knuckleheads right here. We've got the numbers pretty well culled down, so I don't think they're going to be a problem, but nevertheless we'll still have to keep an eye on them. But one thing that I did notice about the white-tailed does especially is their rough hair coats. And basically what we're seeing is an incomplete or a prolonged coat shed. They're just not losing their winter coats as they should. And some of the other does walking around, their coats just look rough. And this is usually a manifestation of poor or improper nutrition. And with no green grass growing around here, that's their biggest problem. They're just not getting enough protein, just not getting enough minerals and nutrients from what vegetation is currently available to them. And if you'll look at this right here, you'll see what the pastures look like. We had a lot of rain last year, so we had a real tall grass growth. And now all that grass is dead, and the new grass underneath is not able to get enough sunshine, definitely not able to get any rain right now. But I knew what I had to do when I saw how green the grass is in the little pathways that I've mowed. And that is, I needed to get out and shred or mow the pastures to cut all the big growth down. And just because of the fire threats that we have these days, my wife has kind of been on me to go mow the front yard a little bit. And you know what they say, happy wife, happy life. So I jumped on the tractor and headed out to mow the front yard. And here's my front yard. It usually takes about 6 or 7 hours to get it all mowed. And in most cases, you'd think sitting on a tractor for 6 or 7 hours would get to be a lonely, lonely job. But not so. This time especially, I had a couple of friends out there helping me mow the grass. And basically what I had was a couple of young hawks. We usually have red-shouldered hawks around here. I really think these two little guys, and again, these are juveniles. The adults won't get anywhere near this close to you, but these little juveniles sat in this pecan tree, and as I'd run the tractor by and stir up the little field mice, they'd go get their dinner of these field mice out in the pasture over and over and over through the day. But I'm pretty sure, like I said, we usually see red-shouldered hawks here, but these are not red-shouldered hawks. I think they're red-tailed hawks. Any of you ornithologists out there want to chime in, you're more than welcome to. I'd appreciate all your answers. So thanks for letting me know what we got out here. Most of these hawks this size will grow up to have about a 4.5 to a 5 foot wingspan. They are really, really big birds, beautiful birds, protected birds, because their numbers do get endangered occasionally. So I shredded the front yard, and I also shredded a real small little pasture here where we have a deer feeder. We call this one the meadow. So hopefully we'll have some green grass returning pretty quickly in these two areas. I did that earlier in the week, and already we are seeing a small amount of green growth. So hopefully that'll help the white-tailed deer and all the other little animals that depend on vegetation. And also, from years of working with large animals, I know the quickest way to get nutrition back into them, especially ruminants like white-tailed deer, is by giving them corn. This is the time of year where I usually turn the deer feeders way down, where it's just not throwing much corn out at all, just kind of enough for a snack to keep them coming back. Because there's green grass everywhere. This year we have no green grass, so I've refilled all the feeders to the top, and we've increased the amount of corn they throw and the frequency through the day that they throw the corn out. These feeders have little computerized timers in them, and you can set the timers to throw up to 6 times a day. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just really loading the pastures down with deer corn, especially right now when the mama deers are in such a high metabolic demand. Right now, if the pregnant deer, if they can't get enough nutrition from what they're eating, their bodies will rob their stores, their calcium and protein and all that. It will take from the mama deer to build the babies, and it'll also rob from the milk. It'll reduce the amount of milk the babies are going to have once they're born too. So we really got to get the nutrition back up in these little guys quickly. And one thing I really found out the hard way is inflation has also hit the feed stores big time. The $7 50-pound bags of corn that I'm used to buying, going in there and buying 20 of them at a time, they're now $10 a bag. And the way I've got these feeders set up, we're going to have a pretty high feed bill at the end of the next few months, I'm afraid. But that's okay. We'll absorb the hit for these little babies and protecting the ranch at the same time. And after we increase the amount of corn hitting the ground out here these days, we realize that the white-tailed deer are not the only species that have noticed the change. As I was restocking the feeder up in the north pasture, I noticed an area where Mother Nature's bulldozers have returned, And yes, they have, and in force. Let me tell you, the ground is all torn up out there. If you'll think back about 4 or 5 years, Operator Drewski and his buddy, they took out almost all the hogs. We thought we had eradicated them from the place. However, the game cameras showed us different. Within a couple of weeks, we'd seen that there were 2 little pigs that kept showing up on the cameras, and none others. One was a little bitty red female, a Drought, and the other one is what's called a Poland China, a spotted Poland China, which is a black and white spotted pig. And as you will see, we've watched him grow up through the years, and as you'll see, he is now a big boy. And we just call him China, but we see China almost every night now since we started increasing the amount of corn. He and his little friends come back very, very frequently. And here's our boy China right here. He went from a cute little baby to a big old ugly pig. He went from infrequent visits to every night visits. He's usually here 3 or 4 times a day now. I don't know where he sleeps, but he's making it into the feeders several times a day. And what's interesting is most of the times he'll come to the feeders in just a slow walk. But when he leaves, he's running like there's something after him. And that's a repeated thing with him. I have no clue. I guess I'll have to move a camera over to the feeder and see what's going on. And sometimes he leaves out of here in a very, very noisy manner. But nevertheless, he's very, very consistent. And we are also seeing 3 young black females, gilts, if you will, and they're always together. We never see them separated. It's just this little threesome, this little trio we see all the time, and they're all over the ranch, but especially since we started increasing the food, they're coming by. Just like China, they're coming back very, very consistently. And what's interesting too, and remember I said these 3 are all ladies, and China is definitely a boar. He's a male, and commonly they all come back together. So if this is indeed China's harem, and we do the math, usually they have an average litter size of 8 as far as the survivors are concerned. So 3 mamas and 8 babies, of course, that's 24. However, it's also common for them to have up to 12 to 14 babies at a time. So if they survive well, and we have 3 mothers, and I'm sure by this you're wondering when this would happen, what's their gestation? Pigs, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. So, and for some reason 115 days sticks in my head. That may be wrong. So it is conceivable that within 6 months we could have some big hog problems around here again. So I guess I'll have to call Drewski and tell him he's got work to do. Also, a very consistent young visitor is this young black boar right here. He has a damaged right front foot, and he is always alone. I don't know why he's ostracized from the rest of the herds that run this ranch, but he is always alone. I don't know if this guy got shot, if he got caught in a trap, or if just another larger boar ran him away from the females in the sounder. But nevertheless, he obviously has no intention of getting back with the rest of the herd. So kind of interesting, but he's here almost every night too, gimping around out there. And then we just have infrequent singles. But like I said, the take-home point is the problem is back. But other than the pigs and the white-tailed deer, again, we're beginning to see an insurgence of the Rio Grande wild turkeys. And we always like seeing them around, especially when we have coyotes on the place too. That just means that we have if we're seeing turkeys, that means that we have the coyote number low enough to where they're probably not going to be significant. And late one night, one of our cameras barely picked up this strange little squirrel-sized critter. I thought I knew who he was by the way he scampered and climbed that little tree. And fortunately, I placed one of our newer cameras in the same area, and we got a closer video of him. And yep, here he is, our old buddy, the ring-tailed cat. We only see one in this area, and he's consistently in this area. We don't see anywhere else around here, so always good to see our old buddy back. And folks, other than that, we're just down to possums and poachers and trespassers. And that has kept me on my motorcycle patrolling the area a little more diligently. Well, folks, that's about it from out here on the ranch today. Issue number one that we're worried about around here more than anything else is wildfires. It's so dang dry, it's hot, it's windy, crazy windy, and we've already seen so many really bad wildfires around here. So that's first and foremost our biggest local worry. Also, the white-tailed deer, trying to get enough nutrition into the moms to where they can have their babies normally, where there won't be any birthing problems with them, and also having their metabolic stores high enough via nutrition so that their bodies can recover from the childbirth and immediately start feeding a baby on top of them trying to feed themselves in an area where there's nothing green. So that's it. And folks, we need to also remember our brothers and sisters in Ukraine. You can keep up with what's going on in the war with one of our subscribers here. She has a YouTube channel. Her name is Sasha. You've probably seen her in the last 2 videos. I will put links to her Instagram and her YouTube channel down below. Keep them all in your prayers, please. And just say a prayer for this world. We are really in a bad situation right now on many levels. God bless you all, folks. Thanks again for stopping by. Like I always say, it means a lot to me, and I appreciate you very much. I look forward to seeing you next time. And as always, I want you to remember I love you. Bye-bye now. So what you doing there, Al?
Neutering a dog, Dad.
All right. Who's gonna learn you?
That's a mistake.